you got him down, man. Let him breathe, at least, man. I've been trying to help out. So you can breathe with this man. One of my homie guys breathe in that room.
Apparently the cold weather is setting in, and that means more people will be indoors and there is more chance of coronavirus to spread. And in recent days, we now know from the Institute for Health Metrics and Evaluation at the University of Washington.
More than 30% of Americans have not made their full housing payments for July, including 19% who made no housing payments at all.
Now to the wildfires raging in the West, which have killed at least 33 people, with dozens of others missing and tens of thousands more forced to flee their homes in California, Oregon, and Washington.
Australia is on fire.
The coronavirus has claimed a Ukrainian passenger plane.
Violent clashes between Hindus and Muslims.
The economy is facing its biggest crisis.
A Pakistan International airline.
Worst plague of locusts.
2 weeks after George Floyd was India's disputed border.
Shackles round my neck, around my arms, down to my feet. Can you hear the wailing women facing defeat? So cry, cry, so cry, cry. I can hear the cry from captivity. Shackles round my neck, around my arms, down to my feet. Can you hear the wailing women facing defeat? So cry, cry, so cry, cry. I can see the end in sight. The light at the end of the tunnel is shining bright. He has not forsaken us. Do you see the bow in the sky? He remembers his covenant. He's coming back for his bride. So prepare your heart, let your light shine bright. Don't let your lamp run out at a war. Sow some seed deep down and good soil. I know sometimes it gets hard. When it's going good, then it falls apart. No matter what, you need to keep the faith. You must endure, you gotta finish the race. I can hear the cries from captivity. Shackles round my neck, around my arms, down to my feet. Can you hear the wailing women facing defeat? So cry, cry, so cry, cry. I can hear the cry from captivity. Shackles round my neck, around my arms, down to my feet. Can you hear the wailing women facing defeat? So cry, cry, so cry, cry. Judgment is here, the world is on fire, fire. Stay out the way, stay out the way. Choose whom you'll serve today. He's got our enemies confounded. They fighting one and each other. With his blood, Leo should be a cover. You gotta have a cover. So prepare your heart. Let your light shine bright. Let your lamp run out no way. So deep down everybody has a purpose. Sometimes it gets hard. It gets hard. When it's going good, then it falls apart. It falls apart. Now what you need to keep the faith. You mustn't do. You gotta finish the race. I can hear the cries from captivity. Shackles round my neck, around my arms, down to my feet. Can you hear the wailing women facing defeat? So cry, 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 cry. I can hear the cry from captivity. Shackles round my neck, around my arms, down to my feet. Can you hear the wailing women facing defeat? Yeah. So cry, cry, yeah. Cry, cry. I can hear the cries from captivity. Shackles round my neck, around my arms, down to my feet. Yeah. Can you hear the wailing women facing defeat? Yeah. Don't be ashamed to cry. Cry the hour. I can hear the cries. 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 I can hear the
Shalom, family. All right. I just wanted to let that play through, get people time to find it. But I wrote down some things. I named just it's more, but they hitting us on the biblical manhood manipulation, the education manhood manipulation, the science. I'm gonna get into the science part first. Chemical castration, okay, politics, and then think about it. Oppression. Period. Don't let us be men as we want to be. Think about it. You're not allowed to have businesses, so you got to go to mass and them, the government. And go up under their rules. That's just like being in somebody else's house. You up under their rules in order for you to set up a business. So that's castration right there. That's manipulation of manhood right there. We was free before these heathens. We ought to be able to govern ourselves. We ought to be able to do our own businesses. We ought to be able to have our own place to live outside of any of their interference at all. I know that light. Let me cut this light on. Hold on. That might help a little bit. All right. Not much. I'm going to fix that. But let me get into it. This is a video. I want y'all to pay attention. It's kind of long. Shalom, everybody in the chat. And Helen Falarami. I hope I pronounced your name right. No offense if I get your name mixed up. People can't pronounce mine too good either. Yas. It's a play on the apostrophe S. as in I belong to Yah, Yah, so I just put a little Z there. Yeah, you know how we do it. All right, here we go. There you go. They want us sissified. All your rappers wearing dresses. Come on now. Notice who is predominantly aimed at. Okay, let me get into this video. I want y'all to pay attention. Yeah, let me show y'all what this video did. Look at the title at the top. So you can write that down. You see this at the top: endocrine disruption, environmental justice, and you can write this at the top. It's gonna take you right to this video, so you can come back and maybe catch something that you didn't catch the first time. All right, it's kind of 15 minutes, but we need it. All right, here we go.
Before I tell you my story today, I want to start with this phrase. It's a Bantu proverb that I learned while working in Southern Africa. Loosely translated.
Yeah. Now, look. This brother got on fingernail polish, long fingernails, and it looked like a female shawl. Just get the truth. For whatever reason, but look, I admire this. For whatever reason, he didn't want to feminize everybody. You understand that? He didn't want to feminize everybody. But yeah, it's kind of, yeah. But anyway, let me get started.
It means I am because we are, or people through other people. So I never represent myself or tell my story without thanking the people who've made me who I am. First and foremost, my friends and family, especially my mother and father, for a lifetime of support, my wife, Catherine Kim, and my son and daughter for their continued support. I also have to thank the funding source they learned from me. So now my story, professor of biology, and she said, wow, you don't look like a professor. Their appearance, but she had the apron and the name tag. I didn't really take it as a compliment. But not only do I not look like a professor, for most of my life, I haven't felt like a professor. For most of my life, I felt like just a little boy who likes frogs, who's been...
Well, what he's going over is the chemical sex change of frogs. Okay, I got to tell y'all, because I know my people. Some of y'all is probably getting bored, but this is a chemical that they spray on the food that's giving the male frog sex change. They laying eggs. Okay? Appreciate you, Luciana, everybody. Yeah, but anyway, I'm trying to, yeah, okay. Yeah, y'all need to, somebody, we're going to have to artificially educate our children because these heathens ain't doing it. Okay?
Trying to answer this question on this book that my mom says she read to me as a baby. I don't remember it, but my mom says it's true. That all changed a few years ago when a chemical company, the largest chemical company in the world, asked me to use my...
Y'all look this up. Look up side effects of atrazine. This is how you do research. So why am I showing you? So you can learn to do this stuff on yourself. Put out some more content. The more of us it is educating our people, we become stronger. The devil's jobs become harder. Understand?
Expertise in studying frog hormones to try to understand if the chemical, their number one selling product, a weed killer, atrazine, if it interfered with their hormones somehow. Long story short, we examined the African clawed frog in my lab. We exposed them to this chemical atrazine, and we showed things like this. And these are testes. And you don't have to have a PhD or be a frog expert to see that there's a difference between the control and the exposed animals. The control testes, if you look at it under the microscope, is full of sperm soldiers ready to go. The atrazine-treated gonad or testes, the testicular tubules are filled with cellular debris. What's more is if you look at the young developing larvae, you often find sometimes, these are the kidneys, if you're not used to looking at frog gonads, that this is an individual, though, that has testes, then it has more ovaries, then it has another testes, then it has more one pair will get you in enough trouble.
This is a male frog with both.
This situation is certainly not typical of amphibians. There are fish that are naturally hermaphrodites, but not amphibians. We later showed that some of these animals grow up, even though they're genetic males, to become completely functioning reproductive females, even though they were genetic males. We showed that in other species, the gonads look like this. So those are the testes on the top, and all of that junk in the trunk on the bottom, those are all eggs that are bursting through the surface of this male's testis. Now, I showed this to the Environmental Protection Agency because I thought they'd be interested. After all, it's the #1 selling chemical in the world at the time. And they said, well, that's not really an adverse effect that would stimulate us to reassess the chemical.
Did you hear him? He brought the information to the FDA. No, EPA, Environmental Protection. What are they protecting? The billionaires? And he said, let me rewind it back a little bit.
This to the Environmental Protection Agency because I thought they'd be interested. After all, it's the #1 selling chemical in the world at the time. And they said, well, that's not really an adverse effect that would stimulate us to reassess the chemical.
So me going from a male to a female ain't an adverse effect. See, boy, it's hard to tolerate these heathens.
Now, my wife tells me that there is nothing more painful in life than childbirth. I'm gonna have to give her that. But I would guess that a dozen chicken eggs popping out of my testicles would have to be at least in the top 5 most painful experiences. The EPA doesn't think so. I thought more about why this might happen. So, for example, if this were your testis, you should make testosterone. Testosterone's a portmanteau. You know, I learned that word at age.
Let me tell y'all, you older men out there, if you find yourself tired all day, just no matter how much sleep you got, this probably gonna be it. Eating a lot of meat, a lot of cheese, all that stuff, you're gonna have to do some research. And turn down. There's also foods that boost your testosterone. See, yeah. All right. He has a wife, but that don't mean nothing, y'all. But I admire him. I admire him with godly admiration that he putting this information out there, though. So, for whatever reason.
49. So when you put 2 words together like smoke and fog, you get smog. Twist and jerk, you get twerk. Testosterone means testicular hormone. It's literally the male hormone. But we hypothesized that this atrazine turned on an enzyme aromatase that caused the testosterone to be converted to estrogen. And if you're a male, that means that you're using up your testosterone so you don't make sperm, but it also means that you're making the female hormone.
How many videos have you seen about them talking about controlling the population? So they done found the chemical that controls your soldiers in your body. Okay? Don't forget that. Remember Bill Gates and them talking about they gonna get the population down? Ted Turner, all these elites. Yeah, the Georgia Guidestones before they tore it down. Talking about they're going to get the population down to 500 million. Y'all done forgot.
When you shouldn't be. So then I started to think, we published that. We published that in proceedings in the National Academy of Sciences and Nature, very prestigious journals that'll get you a tenured professorship at a place like UC Berkeley. But journals that, as my mom says, how important can it be? Barnes and Noble's never heard of them. And I started to think, though, about how my work might imply things beyond frogs. So this is a pond in Lake Nabugabo in Uganda, where I started to think that this agricultural runoff.
Now look, the same stuff is in Uganda. See, I'm about sick of seeing stuff, black folks and poison water. I'm about tired. Black folks, dump your chemicals. See.
Barnes and Noble's never heard of them. And I started to think, though, about how my work might imply things beyond frogs. So this is a pond in Lake Nabugabo in Uganda, where I started to think that this agricultural runoff might not only affect the frogs and the fish, but also the other animals that are drinking out of the water, including the humans that collect their drinking and cooking water from this same source. Because see, we all make estrogen in the exact same way and use it in the same way. The connection to contaminants in water might not be so obvious for us. This is my village. But things like Erin Brockovich's story and things like Flint, Michigan remind us that we don't necessarily have the resources that we think we have, the clean sources of water. A colleague of mine showed, because I don't study humans, I had to work with other people on this, that if you look at men in Columbia, Missouri, and compare the atrazine in their urine, men who have atrazine in their urine have a low sperm count and can't get their wives pregnant. And by the way, this is the same amount of atrazine, 0.1 parts per billion, that we were using to chemically castrate and feminize our frogs. Another colleague showed, and I've mashed the data down now, because these are atrazine levels of men who work in the fields in California, and these are atrazine levels of men who apply atrazine in California. 2,400 parts per billion. They have 24,000 times the atrazine in their urine than we use to chemically castrate frogs and fish. 24,000 times what we know is already having a negative impact on men in Columbia, Missouri. One of these guys could pee in a bucket, and I could dilute it 24,000 times and use the atrazine in their urine to chemically castrate and feminize 24,000 buckets of 30 tadpoles each. Then a little boy who likes frogs learns phrases like environmental justice, because most of these individuals are Latinx or in California, Mexican American. And then I thought about the impact that increasing estrogen would have on humans, because the atrazine has the same effect in human cells. If you take human cancer cells, and we've done some of this work, that don't normally make aromatase or estrogen, and give them atrazine, they start making estrogen. Just like we've shown in fish and frogs and rats and reptiles and in birds.
What they doing in the they got some they call it salt peak, that it mess with the male's hormone in prison. Yeah. In the chat.
It's more as if you look at prostate cancer, there's an 8.4-fold increase in prostate cancer in their factory where they make atrazine in a community that's 80% Black, 80% African American. There's studies showing that there's correlations between atrazine in their drinking water and breast cancer incidence.
So this is dangerous to women too. Pay attention. It's talking about breast cancer. Y'all listen up.
And in birds. What's more is if you look at prostate cancer, there's an 8.4-fold increase in prostate cancer in their factory where they make atrazine in a community that's 80% Black, 80% African American. There's studies showing that there's correlations between atrazine in their drinking water and breast cancer incidence in women in Kentucky. And that's just a correlation, but their own laboratory showed in 1994 that if you give rats atrazine, you increase the incidence of mammary cancer or breast cancer above animals that aren't exposed. This is an interesting problem because breast cancer, the #1 cancer in women, is estrogen dependent. And this aromatase that I've talked about produces the estrogen during breast cancer that stimulates those breast cancers to grow and divide and turn into tumors and spread. In fact, the role...
Just keep in mind, they put this stuff on the food. This is a pesticide, okay? Just keep in mind. We need to just throw it. We got to throw it. Part of us being free is feeding ourselves, okay? Just ask the Most High. Don't get the mind of I don't know what to do. Don't get the mind of dread. Get the mind of faith. And when the Most High show you what to do it. Okay? Don't get the mind of dread. If you get the mind of dread and woe, you already defeated.
Of aromatase is so important in breast cancer that the #1 treatment for breast cancer right now is a chemical called letrozole. It works by knocking out aromatase, decreasing estrogen, so that even if you have cancerous cells, they don't grow and turn into a tumor. That drug, though, has to work against the 80 million pounds of atrazine that we're using every year. That's the #1 contaminant of drinking water that does exactly the opposite. I got in trouble because I pointed out that Novartis Oncology in the year 2000 offered treatments for cancers that range from breast cancer. So the same company that gave us 80 million pounds of this contaminant associated with breast cancer was also selling a chemical that does the opposite to treat breast cancer.
You see that? On one hand, they got a chemical that causes the breast cancer. On the other hand, they got a chemical that they're using to treat the breast cancer with. Take your pick. They in one hand, they got the chemical that they spraying on the food that causes the breast cancer, and in the other hand, they got another chemical to treat the breast cancer with. So we're gonna create some customers. And y'all think Pookie and Ray is drug dealers? No, these are drug dealers.
Yeah, they weren't too happy about me pointing that out. I became concerned. I'm just a little boy who likes frogs.
Sharon, you still in here? Let me see you in the chat.
Likes frogs, but I became concerned because if you look at the top 13 cancers you're going to get in this country, Blacks, African Americans are more likely to get 11 out of the 13 and more likely to die from 13 out of 13. Biology? My colleagues who are experts in cancers tell me that the less than 30% of cancer.
Just want to tell you I love you, baby. All right? Just want to tell you I love you. You might have quiet. I love you.
It can be explained by genetics. That means that when the doctor tells you that you're going to get breast cancer, more likely if your sister, your aunt, or somebody in your family has it, they're not telling you have bad genes necessarily. They're telling you that you've been exposed to the same crap as the rest of your family. Because if you're a minority, if you're an immigrant, if you're first generation, if you're low income, you're more likely to live in and more likely to work in areas where you're exposed to chemicals that we know are associated with adverse health outcomes. What's more is, with the exception of HeLa cells, the cancer cells that we use to study cancer don't come from minorities.
Now, them HeLa cells, they stole it. They stole Henrietta Lacks cells. HeLa cells come from a black woman. They stole them cells from Henrietta Lacks, making billions of dollars, ain't giving her family nothing. See? All right? Listen at him. I listened to this video one time today. I didn't catch the HeLa cells part.
Or somebody in your family has it. They're not telling you have bad genes necessarily. They're telling you that you've been exposed to the same crap as the rest of your family. Because if you're a minority, if you're an immigrant, if you're first generation, if you're low income, you're more likely to live in and more likely to work in areas where you're exposed to chemicals that we know are associated with adverse health outcomes. What's more is, with the exception of HeLa cells, the cancer cells that we use to study cancer don't come from minorities. So even if we find the cure, Coleman, it may not be applicable to people who would need it the most. So I think what's happened is my interest in this aquatic organism has taught me a great deal about this aquatic organism, because we all start out as aquatic in the amniotic fluid. And these chemicals that I study in my tadpoles can cross the placenta. In fact, we now know that your children will be exposed to over 300 synthetic chemicals before they leave the womb.
Did you hear that? Did y'all hear that? Your children will be exposed to 300 synthetic chemicals, man-made chemicals, stuff the Most High didn't create us to be fooling around. You see what I'm saying? And we just want to blame everything. And I get it. You know, we got some crazy Negroes running around here. I used to be one of them. But I'm gonna tell you something. I used to have a thought of killing folk all day long. I couldn't stop it for nothing. All I was thinking about was hurt. I was just waiting on the one. I couldn't stop thinking about hurting folks. I'm just going, somebody's going to be made an example of. And the whole time, I wasn't eating nothing but junk food. See, your mind got to be fed properly. What you eat, it goes to replenish, to redo, to revitalize. If your food ain't putting back what you're using up, then something is going to happen. All right? Now, I know we got some crazy Negro, but they want to just blame everything like it's just us. First of all, you take the men out the house. You kill our leaders. We don't have no good examples. You know, for the most part, I'm talking about as a whole. Okay, then you divide the man and the woman for whatever reason. The man may be in prison. Then you got this feminism, right? And then they want to talk about what's wrong with these damn kids. Chemicals. We got bad water up the wazoo. Bad water, lead pipe. Y'all know that messing with people thinking. Then they want to holler what's wrong with these damn kids.
And most of them, we have no idea what the biological impact is. For atrazine, we do know from rats, which are a proxy for us, that if you give rats atrazine, an EPA lab showed those rats are more likely to have an abortion. Of those rats that don't have an abortion, the sons are born with prostate disease. Of those rats that don't abort, the daughters are born with impaired memory development, such that when they grow up, their offspring experience retarded growth and development. And it was these studies that moved me to most, that made me realize I can't just be a little boy who likes frogs. Because see that rat on the bottom? That rat on the bottom never saw atrazine. The rat on the bottom was affected by atrazine that its grandmother was exposed to. The rat on the bottom never saw atrazine. The rat on the bottom was affected by atrazine that its grandmother was exposed to.
So in other words, it's altering DNA. Think about it. It's colonizing the DNA. It's got to be, if it's changing sex, altering chemicals, it's making changes. You go right back to the Azazel, the Baphomet, as someone said in the chat. You know the goat with the breast? Yeah. The transgender goat god, the devil? Yeah, go right back to him.
So when I think about my little girl, my son, the fact that my grandchildren, that your grandchildren, could be affected by chemicals that we're using today, it moved me in a very different way than just a little boy who likes frogs. It's just a correlation, but we already know, studies have already been done by the Center for Disease Control and others, that if you get pregnant doing peak atrazine contamination, you're more likely to have babies with birth defects, including malformed genitals in male babies.
Don't forget the EPA said they didn't find no need to redo that. Remember, ever how they put it. So you being born with what you call that? You've been born genetically messed up. Let me rewind it back. Shorten lives. That goes right along with that globalist, as the white folks say, agenda. Culling of the population.
Could be affected by chemicals that we're using today. It moved me in a very different way than just a little boy who likes frogs. It's just a correlation, but we already know, studies have already been done by the Center for Disease Control and others, that if you get pregnant doing peak atrazine contamination, you're more likely to have babies with birth defects, including malformed genitals in the male babies. The EPA has acknowledged this, but they say, quote, a monetary value is assigned to disease impairments and shortened lives and weighed against the benefits of keeping a chemical in use. A monetary value. If you look at California, I'm often giving this talk outside of California, we're the 5th or 7th, depends on who you talk to, largest economy in the world because of agriculture, not because of tech or Hollywood. We produce 50% of the U.S.'s food. Half of the U.S.'s food comes from California. As a result, we use more pesticides than any other state, and 90% of the workers are Latinx. If I put in red here, the top 10 counties for agriculture, these are the counties, the 30% that makes us the 5th largest economy in the world. What if I plot onto that the 30 poorest towns in California? Environmental justice. So the people who make us the 5th largest economy in the world are the same people who are paying that cost that the EPA talks about. And so when I thought about this as a little boy who likes frogs, it motivated me to cross the line, so to speak. Crossing that line cost me. The chemical manufacturers set out to discredit me with personal attacks. They said, hey, he's biologist turned activist. Turned activist. A turn. You can't be a scientist and an activist. They tried to discredit me, but when they were interviewed by New Yorker magazine, they said it simply wasn't true. I must be crazy. I must be making it up. They said, and I quote, I am troubled by a suggestion that we have ever tried to discredit anyone. Our focus has always been on communicating the science and setting the record straight. I am troubled at the suggestion that we've ever tried to discredit anyone. Where on earth would I have gotten the idea that they tried to discredit me? Well, it turns out that...
Well, he pretty much done said what he needed to say. All right? Now, that's the science part. Now, ask yourself, I know some women can't breastfeed their children, but the majority can. Why do we take our when we have a newborn child, don't give them the mother milk, which the Most High created the mother to give the milk, and give them milk from a man? we take our children and give them milk from a man and deny them the milk that the Most High created them from their mother. Come on, family. Think. See, it's soy in this stuff. They might get this one, but I don't care. Let me see here. Oh, yeah, not to mention this. Not to mention this. See, you got soy. It's synthetic estrogen. Let me see, can I pull it up right? I thought I pulled it up. I don't know what I'm gonna get. Let me see here. Some of these things you'll go to, they are being paid to lie. So you have to do your own due diligence. Pretty much anything that man makes is detrimental to you. Pretty much. All right. Let me see what this is. I didn't really I researched it before. And what it is, the soy produces estrogen. Okay. But it's synthetic. It's not the Most High. Okay. It's a fake estrogen. All right. Soy and soy products are rich in isoflavones. What's that? Phytoestrogens. These are called plant estrogens. It said can affect the body similarly to regular. It didn't say it does. You have to be careful. Can. It didn't say it does. All right. Ain't nothing like the original. Okay? Ain't nothing like the original. Why get a fake breast, the man breast that they don't put on the shelf? I understand if a woman can't, produce milk. I get that. But all the women that can, why you gonna give your baby some fake milk? When that's what you for? See, these folks start making customers for the hospital inside the womb. You just heard him say. They start making customers for this pharmaceutical sorcery industry in the womb. See, I'm not gonna read that. Do your own research on that's producing fake estrogen. Nothing man-made is better than what the Most High created. Can we get a praise y'all or something in that? A hallelujah. Nothing that I can make can top the Most High. So man-made milk, man-made estrogen ain't better than what the Most High made. See, that's right. All praise to the Most High. Hallelujah. Get off of that. Now, when the baby get through getting the heaping helps of man-made milk, he get to go to school now and get drag queen story time. Yeah. Y'all see the chess move. Now he get to go to school and get confused. Look, by some men that can't produce no milk. Yeah. He get to go to school and see that, see. So God, man. I'm gonna try to restrict my talk. Man. What's this got to do with class? What? See, let me get over there. Brother, we women were put out to work 4, 6 months, and it ain't so. And it ain't so. The Most High gonna force us back to. He gonna force us back to his ways, because he said, "Come out of her, my people." Okay. Now you got the soy milk. Now you got the sissy reading time. Okay. Let's see what else they got. Let's see what else they got. Oh yeah, they got the gay BCs. Look. See, y'all see, they are trying to steal the future. Yeah. Why is this sexual preference above the original and traditional? Remember, we got to cull the population. We got to get it down to 500 million. Now, they said they going to get it. They didn't say we got to get it. They said they going to get it. But you know what? I said they wrong. The Bible said the Most High. He going to cull the population. Yeah. Okay. Let's see what is. Let's just say now you got, let me see here. Now you got this going on. You go to church, you're going to get some effeminized men up in the church. See? And don't get me started on the Catholics. How they been molesting little boys. Huh? This is just the children, what the children looking at. Okay. You got effeminized milk. You got you got effeminized chemicals that the mother may be ingesting. You got effeminized milk. You got your gay BCs, and you got effeminized men trying to read to the children. So why not just invite the sheep to the wolves? That's what I like, Josiah. That's what I like right there. Let me see here. Now, let me see here. I think they are California. I forgot how it's worded. I forgot how it was worded. Y'all in California. What was that they got? Okay, here you go. Look at this. This goes into the politics. Look. So now you're getting paid to join the parade. Think about it. California got a huge homeless population, and a lot of them is us. Okay? A lot of them is us. So you get a weak-minded jellyback Negro that don't know what a man is. I just say I'm gay and go on and get me. No, Look, so they give him money to put them up, to give them money, you know. Let me read it. Better yet, here you go. Let's see this go. Let me see. This drivers. Hold on. Oh, no, I ain't going to go into that. I'm something else. Let me see here. A California city is planning to give universal basic income to transgender and non-binary residents. Transgender residents in Palm Springs, California are eligible to receive UBI of up to $900 a month just because they chasing the rainbow. So they getting paid to chase the rainbow. They planning. Okay, they got it in the works. Let me correct. They said they planning. The fact that this is even a news article, okay, should tell you something. They sending a message. They sending a message. Hey, I need y'all to like every now and then drop them Rumble links in the chat. If we get cut off, I need y'all to start dropping them links in the chat for me, okay? Because they probably gonna get this. I don't care. Start, every now and then drop that in case we get cut off. Y'all drop them links in the chat. All right. Hold on, let me see what this says. California to give transgender and non-binary residents up to $900 a month. Why? But anyway, I'm just showing you something. All right. Let me get this thing over here. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Let me see here. Let me type this in here. I'm looking at your comment, Esther. They want to paint us as some sexual degenerates. You be having kids all up here. Look at this mess. Look at this mess. And y'all, listen. Y'all need to be falling on you, praying and getting out the way, because this is gonna get an answer. This is gonna, if these folks get older, how much more wicked is they gonna become when they get older? How much? Think about it, family. You gonna progress in righteousness, or you gonna progress in wickedness? Look at this. All right. All right. Let me keep going. Let me see here. Let me see if anybody. Let me see if it's still going. All right. Let me move on. Okay. We can go to white Jesus right now. Let's see. We done covered the oppression part, the politics, the education, and the science. Let's get into the Bible. Y'all know who it is. This is the minister of wellness. That's how I knew eating junk food was part of my problem. Remember, I told y'all I couldn't stop thinking about hurting folks. Didn't know. I listened. He the one told me, and I said, "No, I'm running around here, couldn't control myself. I wouldn't eat nothing but junk." Now some foods you could use. Some foods let me see. But I'm thinking about it. Yeah, this is another thing. Look here, medication to give men breast. There you go, gynecomastia. You want to see? Then they want to. I'm gonna go back to the minister. Then they want to put your children on when your children can't sit down right, probably getting malnourished, probably getting a heaping helps of lead pipe poisoning, and everything else the white supremacists are doing. Outside the fact of not having a good example of what manhood and womanhood and how men and women are supposed to interact with each other, how a man's supposed to love his wife. He go to school probably having daddy issues. Then you want to put him on some medicines that's going to give him a breast. So let's tally up this code. Possibility of being exposed to atrazine due to California produce most of the food in the United States. Okay. Then you got the gay BCs. Okay. Then you got these perverts trying to get up in the schools. Okay. Right? Then you got this stuff coming on. Then this gynecomastia. Let me show y'all something. What's these Risperdal? These. Let me see Risperdal. Let me see RESP. Resper. This stuff causes gynecomastia. The so-called ADHD medicine. Look. All that stuff, all that medicine they use to slow them down is causing heart problems and reproductive problems. Look it up. I'm telling you. The damn criminals is running the country. All right. All that old stuff, let me see the ADHD medicine side effect. I don't care. They just gonna have to hit. That's about it. Let me type in medicine. Hold on. Y'all notice every year they come up with a different, all these diseases keep coming. They keep coming up with different diseases and a different pill. Y'all notice that? me see here. Side effects. Let me see here. No, not AD. Okay, medication. Let me see. Y'all, somebody got that link in the chat. Y'all copy and paste this link in the chat every now and then. In case they cut it off, it'll be over there on Rumble. Rumble is about 20 seconds behind, so you'll be able to come right on over there, hit that link, and probably keep right on trucking. Y'all copy it, moderators, please copy and paste that link every now and then. Keep it for future reference. Well, no, not that one. Just put that one in the link because that'll be a different video next time. Okay. Let me see, can I? Looking for something. Let me see, can I find a video? Y'all hold up. See, can I find a video? Four minutes.
In the next slides, I'm going to discuss side effects of the stimulant medications. First, the most common ones, then some occasional side effects, and then one in which it's not clear if the side effect is due to the medications. For many parents, the biggest concerns about medications are their side effects. Like all medications, the stimulants do have side effects, though serious ones are extremely rare.
This is a pro ADHD. They probably got their own doctor. They probably got their own doctor. See, their own people they pay. Yeah, this stuff is a molecule away from methamphetamine and crack. Let me see what this says. Oh, that's something else though. I'm going off into a rabbit hole. Let me go back to some images over here. There's some side effects. Sexual reproductive problem, heart problems. I read them. It's been like 5 years ago. But it's some out here. But nevertheless, all right, you ain't got to take my word for it. Name one medicine that they created without a side effect. That's what you do. Name just one that they have created without a side effect. That's what you do. All right, let me get back on track here. Let me see here. Wait a minute, right here. Okay, yeah. Now some of these food, yeah, this lower testosterone, okay. But you said mint. Well, if you got a man that's, say for instance, you got somebody that's too aggressive, might want to give him some mint tea or something. See, you could use it kind of to calm them down if they too aggressive. But if you about my age, you probably ain't got you probably done stole everything you got. But use wisdom. You know your body, especially get to know who you're around. Thank you, Shanae. Use wisdom. Strawberries boosted the estrogen. But remember, the Most High created those. Use wisdom. If you think you're a little soft, you're getting tired all the time, you're just weak, you're probably low in testosterone if you're a man. Okay? See, working all day and tired. That used to be me taking them darn shots. Yeah. All right, let me get into the Minister Wellness video, then I get into this. This right here, mind manipulation, trying to convince another country to assimilate. Remember that? Well, not in this video, but in the other channels that was before I did this video today. Remember the Greek captivity in 2 Maccabees chapter 2. The Greeks was killing people to make them to deny their heritage and history, to act like they was Greeks. This is the same thing these colonizers are doing. I'll get to that one next. All right, here we go.
Of the pastor pork chops, educated by our enemies and oppressors in European Christian cemetery. And I did a video on a white pastor. He came over to our house and he was just overzealous with based off of one conversation with my wife. And he overzealous and wanted to have a good time talking about white Jesus. And I just had no interest. I had no interest because I already know where the conversation would go if we start talking about, well, what version of Jesus do you believe in?
What the Bible say?
I already know the overzealousness came from the fact of this desperation to keep our people under their version of Christianity, under their version of what the scriptures teach. The illogical logic of the pastor pork chops, educated by our enemies and oppressors in European Christian cemetery. And I did a video on a white pastor. He came over to our house and he was just overzealous with based off of one conversation with my wife. And he overzealous and wanted to have a good time talking about white Jesus. And I just had no interest. I had no interest because I already know where the conversation would go if we start talking about, well, what version of Jesus do you believe in? I already know the overzealousness came from the fact of this desperation to keep our people under their version of Christianity, under their version of what the scriptures teach. The illogical logic of the pastor pork chops, educated by our enemies and oppressors in European Christian cemetery. And I did a video on a white pastor. He came over to our house and he was just overzealous with based off of one conversation with my wife.
There go back again. Y'all heard the minister. Okay. All right. I'm see can I get over there and check it out. Let me get to this video. Remind me at the end, Brother Josiah. All right. Now, I don't subscribe to Islam, but I subscribe to the truth. All right? I subscribe to y'all. Listen how you break it down.
We got to talk about this toxic masculinity, this term. Like, okay, just break this down for us, Reese.
We really have to stop listening to white people when it comes to teaching us about manhood or womanhood. And let me say it this way. Sure, can a white man or woman educate on the topic of manhood or womanhood? Of course, sure. However, when it comes to being a black man and or woman, in the hills of the wilderness of North America, 2,000 by 3,000 continents in the United States, where we have some of the most trauma in this land, on this land, and around this environment. Black man, black woman. So toxic masculinity is a term that was created by two Caucasian males. One is a homosexual, Shepard Bliss and Robert J. Stoller.
Okay,
that's number one. The first
toxic masculinity created by two white men. Out here on social media is mostly aimed at black men. And y'all always talking about toxic masculinity. Which video? This video, they always talking about toxic masculinity. Two white men and one of them gay. Talking about some toxic masculinity. See, let me copy this link and drop it in the chat. Let me drop this link in the chat. Let me see here. What I did. Let me see here. All right, I'll drop it in the chat. I know how to drop it in the chat. Hold on. Rewind it back.
Masculinity is a term that was created by two Caucasian males. One is a homosexual, Shepard Bliss and Robert J. Stoller. That's number one. The first thing is, what is a homosexual Caucasian male doing trying to teach anybody about masculinity? You don't know what masculinity is, right? Not entirely, but you probably can demonstrate what it is not by way of your behavior. But toxic masculinity is a misnomer here. Masculinity is the good thing. It is a power drive circumstance. It is demonstrating manhood and principles and discipline and uprightness and helping to protect men, women, children, families, securing your environment, etc. That's masculinity. But toxicity is the opposite. What we're dealing with is a lack of masculinity, not toxic masculinity. That's what we have. If you want to label it something, a black man or a man who is attacking people.
Now, the one at the top is Rizza Islam. The second link I put in the chat is the Minister of Wellness. Okay, the one at the top, Rizza Islam. The second one is the Minister of Wellness. All right?
People irrationally, going off on people, putting his hands on women, etc. That is a lack of masculinity. Who is a black man or a man who is attacking people irrationally, going off on people, putting his hands on women, etc. That is a lack of masculinity. Masculinity prevents murders. Masculinity prevents abuse. Masculinity prevents people being taken advantage of. Masculinity protects the environment. Masculinity secures the woman. Masculinity is a great example for young men and young women because she receives the love from her father. Masculinity is what protects the environment, but toxicity is the opposite of masculinity. So when a man lacks masculinity, then he becomes toxic, not combined, because you never hear the term toxic femininity. That's how you know it was a political agenda behind it.
Yeah, wow. Hey, if I had a mic, I'd drop it.
Oh.
The pregnant.
Okay, hold on. Let me drop that link again. Let me see. It should be in my. Oh, let me see.
Yeah, we got to talk about.
Let me drop it in the chat. Let me do it this way. Then this should be it right here, because that's the link. You see the link. That should be it. Yeah, I see you comment, old nigga. Yeah, they believe in all that. Yeah, I'm trying to mind coming in. It's gonna be great for it to come in, but it's there. That's right. Yeah. Why don't they call colonialism toxic masculinity? Why do they call the brutal rape and separation of family toxic masculinity? Why don't they call white on white crime, World War II, and every war in between? Why don't they call that toxic masculinity? But somehow that is reserved for us. But let me keep going. That's right, that part. Let me keep going. Let me see what else I got. Josiah, don't let me forget that video. All right, yeah, this one. Now, let me see here. Now, let me put this in context. Now, look here. The alt-right is mad about a 600,000 Trump program in Kenya linking violent extremism to masculinity. So Trump wanted to study. He wanted to study the Kenyan. Let me see here. Men. 600,000. Over here, you got this doggone media trying to LGBT the Kenyans. You see what you need to be, whatever they doing, you pretty much need to be doing the opposite. If it don't line up with the word and it ain't got nothing to do with our people, you need to be doing the opposite. See that? I'm gonna play the video. I'm gonna read this article first, and then I'm gonna play the video. The alt-right is mad. Trump program in Kenya linking violent extremism. How come it can't be colonialism? How come it can't be violent extremism to white supremacists? Y'all know how they like to kill off good leaders and put their own there. Some French got sentenced recently over there somewhere starting a coup, trying to kill off the president. Some Frenchmen should have gave them a brick shower. American conservatives and alt-right media outlets are not happy with a U.S. program that aims to address the links between masculinity and violent extremism in Kenya. All right. The grant proposed by the State Department Bureau of Counterterrorism on January 12th aims to fund a project that looks at the ideals of masculinity in Kenya and how they make men vulnerable to recruitment by fundamental. No, that ain't why. That ain't why. They ain't worried about the vulnerability of black men. If that's the case, why are they doing that over here? Huh? That ain't it. They try to study these men over there in Kenya to undermine them. Trying to LGBT them. Trying to effeminize them. That's what that is. All right. The 2-year, $600,000 program, expectation of Kenyan men to be tough, heterosexual, aggressive, unemotional, and achieving. So this is toxic. Look, the 2-year, all right. The 2-year, I'll go back over there and click on it and copy it. Look, though. So the 2-year, $600,000 program says expectation of Kenyan men to be tough. That's right. That's what you're supposed to be, tough. Heterosexual, aggressive. White men ain't aggressive. When they growing pipe bombs in their lab, in their house, and then they probably got my kinfolk's arm and toes and fingers and ears and lips in a jar somewhere. That ain't aggressive. So let me be clear. They want you weak. They want you sissified. They want you docile. They want you emotional. More feminine. No offense. More feminine. Okay. And they don't want you to achieve nothing. So they're going to try to study what makes them tick to undermine them. What is wrong in any society with men being tough, heterosexual, and aggressive? What's wrong with that? You want your military weak? You want your military emasculated? You want your military docile? You want them emotional? You know emotional. Oh, they're going to kill us. Oh, instead of fighting, they worried about dying. Emotional. So, and you want them underachieving. See that? This right here is some nuggets right here. So even if you're in a single household, you ask the Most High the best way to teach them children. All right, you pray to the Most High. Root and grind them in the word. And let them get both doses of Maccabees, especially their man. Let them get both doses. Anything with some fight and bite to it. That's what you do. If the Mzungus want, if they don't want that, then they put money into it. You got me. Let me get to this video now. Check this video out. How doggone Europeans, just listen.
Wow, we're on Verizon now.
Because of One Unlimited for iPhone. It comes with Apple One. That's Apple Music, Apple TV.
For iPhone.
Okay, let me go back.
Christian.
It did. In a few days, President-elect Ruto, welcome to the program.
Thank you very much, Christian.
Now, in a few days, you're going to be inaugurated and you will take office. It's been a pretty bitter, divisive, and in fact contested campaign and result. It did go down to the Supreme Court. And you've now been congratulated for everybody abiding by the Supreme Court decision and because there was no violence. How do you...
And another thing, why all the black governments got to look like the white governments?
Take that, the fact that Kenya has become so known for violence around presidential elections, that this is somewhat of a pleasant surprise.
Oh, okay, I got you. Let me fix that. All right, get it together.
Around presidential elections, that this is somewhat of a pleasant surprise.
I think it speaks to the heart of the maturity of the democracy of our country. No citizen, no leader wants their country to be famous for violence. And as the people of Kenya, we have raised the standard, I think, in our continent, and we have raised the standard even for ourselves, that we can go to an election, we can decide who our leaders are, and the next day we can go back to work. That is the standard we have raised for ourselves as the people of Kenya. I am very proud of it, and many, if not all Kenyans are very proud of it. And what happened in the past was a slip, and we have gained our balance, and I am very confident going into the future, the next election will be better than the one we had this year.
So again, it's very good to hear you say that, because the last one in which you said there were challenges and mishaps, and you called it a slip, what happened in 2007, 2008, more than 1,000 people were killed. So it was a pretty big disaster. But still, your election is very, very narrow, the margin of victory. And you're going to presumably, like all newly elected leaders, want to try to unify the country. Is that possible, and how do you plan to do it?
Well, part of the challenge of leadership is reaching out across the aisle and building alliances and building networks that would help bring the country together. I have already reached out to my competitor, the former Prime Minister. I am very confident that we are going to agree on a mechanism that would allow those of us who will run the executive to do it in a manner that our competitors on the other side, running the opposition and providing oversight, will do their work so that the people of Kenya can reap the benefits.
So let me ask you this, Mr. President-elect. You say that you've reached out. Your opponent, the former Prime Minister, has congratulated you, but your own boss, the outgoing President Kenyatta, to whom you were deputy, supported your opponent. He didn't support you during this campaign, and so far we don't know whether he's actually congratulated you or not. Has he, President Kenyatta?
Let me see can I find a shorter video. Y'all bear with me. Let me see can I find a shorter video. All right. I meant to double check this video, but I never got around to it. Oh yeah, there's some work go into this stuff. There's some work go into it. you have to watch stuff. Okay. Let me see here. It was one particular I was looking for. Y'all bear with me. Bear with me while I find it. Let me see. But anyway, maybe I'll cue through it and see can I find it. Maybe I'll cue through it. Hold on. Fast forward through it and see can I find it. Hold on.
When I decided to support President Uhuru Kenyatta for 10 years, the nature of politics.
Mr. Ruto, the perennially troubled Somalia.
So deal with the humanitarian, especially food situation in the whole of Africa, in northern challenge of, I think, brought about by climate change. And I was speaking to some of the leaders of northern Kenya this morning, and they have lost pretty 40% of livestock there. So that is an area we are going to work with the international community. We are going to work with the leadership in Somalia. We just need to sort out.
You yourself gained worldwide attention a few years ago when you said there was, quote, no room for homosexuality
right here
in Kenyan society.
Right here. This is it. Right here. He just showed you that they got food problems and other stuff. And here she is talking about some doggone LGBT. Don't forget this right here now. Oh, I ain't sharing my screen. Hold on. I ain't sharing my screen. Don't forget this right here now. Take this with you. Take this with you. Take this here with you now. Take this here with you now. Yeah, but I'm taking here to the truth. I understand that, Brenda here, but listen though.
Solution of the conflict in Ukraine, and so that we can get on with doing what we are doing, because climate change is already a big enough problem. I do not think blame game would help in that equation.
I want to talk to you about a specific, human rights situation in parts of Africa and including in your own country. You yourself gained worldwide attention a few years ago.
She talking about human rights, and she on CNN. And the United States violated human rights every single day. But she got her nose way over there in Africa talking about some doggone human rights.
And get on with doing what we are doing, because climate change is already a big enough problem. I do not think blame game would help in that equation.
I want to talk to you about a specific, human rights situation in parts of Africa and including in your own country. You yourself gained worldwide attention a few years ago when you said there was, quote, no room for homosexuality in Kenyan society. I want to know whether you still stand by that.
We have Kenyan law, we have Kenyan constitution, we have our tradition, we have our customs. We will continue to respect other people's customs as they respect our customs and our tradition. I am very clear that we respect everybody and what they believe in, but we also have what we believe in, and we expect to be respected for what we believe in.
So before I ask you to flesh that out and what exactly does it mean, I want to play you what President Kenyatta said to me about this issue.
I will not engage in a subject that is of no, it is not of any major importance to the people and the Republic of Kenya. This is not an issue, as you would want to put it, of human rights or this. This is an issue of society, of our own base as a culture, as a people, regardless of which community you come from. This is not acceptable. This is not agreeable.
So he's basically saying homosexuality is not agreeable. You've just said that you're kind of trying to...
What the book say, sucker? I'm going to quote Brother Amnon. What the book say? The book said the Most High don't agree with that.
Thread the needle that...
Oh, yeah. Let me address your... Yeah, hey, over here, though, I've done videos where they classify Arabs as white people. I've done a video where they had a black Egyptian fighting the courts to not to be called white. So what they do, they bring these people over here, classify them as white. Then all the taxpayer dollars is justified when it's going to white communities because they got their numbers. That's the game they playing. But yeah, let me see.
The law says one thing, but you respect everybody's rights. Will a Ruto administration crack down, like many other leaders in Africa, on the homosexual LGBTQ community? Or will you allow them their human rights? And
y'all know how disrespectful this is. This is something they do not engage in. Y'all see how disrespectful this is? Think about it. Let me come into y'all house, talking like she talking. Y'all see what I'm talking about? See, I'm going to just push the play button.
Their civil rights.
I think on that subject, President Kenyatta was spot on. We do not want to create...
And if this woman is an Arab, now they won't accept that in their own country. If they do, you better do that in private somewhere.
A mountain out of a molehill. This is not a big issue for the people of Kenya. When it becomes a big issue for the people of Kenya will make a choice. As it is now, we are grappling with 5 million young people who do not have jobs, 4 million people who are hungry, and that is my concern.
Well, you said 5 million people with no jobs.
When it becomes a big issue for the people of Kenya will make a choice. As it is now, we are grappling with 5 million young people who do not have jobs, 4 million people who are hungry, and
they worrying about some damn LGBT.
That is my concern. That is the focus of the people of Kenya at the moment. When the issue you have discussed about homosexuality and the rights of LGBT will come, the people of Kenya will make a choice, and we will respect the choice of the people of Kenya.
See, just keep if y'all in Kenya, y'all warn your president. If you in Kenya, y'all warn your president. They probably gonna try to snipe him out. So what? If you can't die for the people, you shouldn't be able to rule your people. If you won't protect your people, you don't deserve to rule over them. No, yeah, that comes with the territory. But y'all and anybody come over there, won't y'all do them something? Send a message to the world. I don't know. Feed them to some lions or something. Feed them to some crocs. I don't know. That's a serious offense. Going over into your country, messing with your leaders so they can rule over you and keep you hungry, keep you jobless, keep you poor. See, y'all catch these devils, start making examples out of them. At least send them to prison for the rest of their life. At least. Oh, now they messing with the stream. It's about time to go anyway. Oh, yeah, Brother Josiah, I looked at that video. I can't show that over here. They getting surgery. Them transgenders getting surgeries. It's over there. The link is over there in Rumble, y'all. If y'all want to check it out, you can drop it. You can drop it. You can drop it over here if you want to. But I can't. That's too much doggone cutting going on. Just to be for something, to pretend to be something that you ain't. I was looking at that video. Yeah, it looked like a man getting a sex change. Am I right? Am I right? Okay. I think that's all I got. That's pretty much it. Let me unshare my screen. Shalom, family. I'm glad y'all came out. All right. Y'all protect them children. Protect our family. Okay? We love y'all. Let me put the Patreon link in the chat while I'm thinking about it. Let me see. Thank you. Sister Arlene. Let me see. Put the link to Patreon right here. Y'all copy and paste this link for the future, all right? Y'all copy and paste this link, even if you ain't a member. Copy and paste this link. We asking you moderators. Copy and post this link. The Cash App is down there at the bottom of the screen. All right. Okay, I'm gonna check it out. It's kind of like 15 minutes long. All right. Love y'all. Let me click. Let me see if this link work. Hold on. Make sure this link working. I check it myself. Yeah. It's $1, y'all. It's $1. The goal is to get our own website. We can chop it up, whatever we need to do. So they won't. All right, Brother Josiah. If y'all get this stuff, y'all be persistent. Sometimes I say email, but sometimes I don't get around to my email. My wife don't get around to them. If you catch a live video, the chat room, the chat is open. All right, family. See, that's why I love y'all. Y'all take care. I love y'all with a holy, righteous love. Okay, nothing unholy. Sometimes you have to spell it out. Okay. All right. We love y'all. Y'all take care. We're gonna raise up. Kwam Yasharal.
Can these dry bones live? It's time to make these other nations eat their word. Come on. Kwam Yasharal.
We ain't dead no more.
Nope.
Dry bones rising from the grave.
Come on. Rise. 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 Rise.
So blow the trumpet, cry out loud.
Come on.
Israelites, it's time to come together.
Let's come together, y'all. Hey. Rise. Rise. Rise.
Raise up, Zion, roar like a lion. We don't fear no abaddon. We already won the battle. Pour your Holy Spirit, write it in our heart, your sanctuary. Save us from evil, down in the valley Megiddo. The righteous will barely make it. You best to keep it real, you can't fake this. Yahuwah, he's a spirit. You can only please him in truth and spirit. So put on your armor with praises. We honor Yahuwah. Yahuwah. We ain't dead no more. Dry bones rising from the grave. We gon' raise up. We gon' raise up. We gon' raise up. We gon' raise up. It's time to come together. Come together. Raise up. Raise up.
What good can come from the ghetto? Hello, here now, once bound, free from heavy metal. Shackles off my feet, now I'm mashing on the pedal. Chasing the highest calling, that is why I never settle. Our ancestors had affection for heathen nations ill. So they rejected Yah and decided to rebel. So they threw them curses on them. Sold us to everybody, yet nobody really wanted us. Scattered the four corners. 400 years for these dry bones alive. Trying to navigate slavery with hate on every side. Now that we are alive, gotta let the flesh die. That's prophetic of the day we take it in the sky. Until the trumpet blow, keep your oil filled. Prayer and meditation, develop like a skill. I speak revival, let the righteous be filled. I speak deliverance, let the sick be healed.